Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Good morning, Bravehearts, and good morning, Garfield, New Jersey. It's Marv in the morning, baby. Episode 22. Holy jazz, I'm feeling good today, man. Listen, today is Ask Marv Anything Thursday, and I set up today listening to great music. And I was just thinking, man, to what inspires me, what powers me up, man, because I feel powered up after like listening to the Spotify playlist of mine. Let me tell you, it'll take you to another galaxy, all right? Mondo righteous music, bro. Mondo righteous music, and definitely music. Oh man, I just can't get over how much music energizes. Forget the bunny. Forget the bunny, man. Put on some good jams. Put the tunes on. Absorb. And the sun's out today finally. Listen, man, it's been a gloomy week. It's been a mondo gloomy week. And I'm just absorbing it all through like photosynthesis right now. All that coming through my window, just splashing on me like all the sunlight. I bathe in it, man. I'm like Superman, bro. Like the way he gets his power from the sun. I feel that way sometimes. Not that I'm the type that like gets depressed in gloomy weather or anything like that, but you feel a different kind of energy when them light rays, with the ultraviolet. I don't even know what the scientific term is for light rays is really, but yeah, man, I definitely feel the ultraviolet light coming in and absorbing that, photosynthetically. Definitely, man. So welcome back once again. It's Marv in the morning, episode Deuce. Ask Marv Anything Thursday. The timestamps will be in the description. If you're watching post live, you can skip ahead to the meat and potatoes. But if this is your first time here in this glorious Graceland, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get the video, one of these, and make sure you hit that notification bell. You can stay tuned. You get notified when I go live. I give you podcast facts. I give you advice. I supplement your breakfast. It's 9 p.m. I think most peeps start their day like at 7 a.m. I'm gonna work towards getting to that 7 a.m. slot though. Realistically, it's because I like knock out too late. I'm finishing things up at the end of the day, like around 12 p.m. So if I could manage to get up at like 4:30, that's the goal, man. I'm trying to be a 4:30 cat, 4:35 cat, to get up that early and start my day off with the sun, rising with the sun. That'll just be the bee's knees, man. That'll be the bee's knees. I'm aiming for it. I'm definitely aiming for it. And I could do like a 7 a.m. show. Catch you on your way to work. That's the goal, man. I would love it. I would love to get up with the sun, for sure. Listen, we got a Discord link in the description. You can submit your podcast there for listening, for review. I will play it right, but while I'm setting up the show, I'll have it so fresh in my brain that I'll give you the spiel. I'll give you the whole shebang about my thoughts about your podcast. About how many times are you gonna say about? I'm gonna tell you what I think of your podcast. How about that? Ladies, a Bravery event. I think we're only like 2 weeks away. Like time has moved at light speed already. We're already in October, Rocktober, and October 22nd, Ladies of Bravery event is going down. We got the Illest Girls Next Door. We have the No Filter podcast. We have the Spiritual Tip podcast. 3 amazing, all ladies led podcasts, empowered by Bravery, and they rock. These ladies rock and roll. I love them. I absolutely love all the ladies that record here at Bravery. And let me tell you, this is gonna be an awesome night. It's an honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They're gonna be spilling it out. Get your tickets. Pull up. If you're subscribed to the Bravery Studios YouTube channel, you get $5 off the door price. Come through, show love, show support, join a community. Community is a big deal. Let me tell you guys something. I was watching a whole a whole live series about community building. And it's, there's this podcasting advice guru who I also watch. Well, I want to put his description in the link. His link in my description eventually. Maybe tomorrow I'll get on to that. And he was saying, it's important to join a community. It's important not to feel lonely. And for the longest of times, doing this probably past 2019, when my original business partner, when the creator of the podcast studio moved on to other ventures, it was a lonely journey since then. And let me tell you guys something. I didn't really start feeling good doing this again. Well, I felt good with the business. I was always happy with how the business expanded and grew over the course of time. But in my own personal life, I felt lonely. I was like, yo, I don't have a tribe to lean on, when I'm feeling down. I don't have like a brotherhood of people that I can, shake hands with, and that didn't really change until like 2021 September 2020, or was that 2021 when Steve arrived, came back from Washington State. He pulled up like he never left. His man has been rocking and rolling with me ever since. He just completed a year here. I don't know if I say enough great things about Jake Kadowski, my bro Steve. He's definitely my right hand man, my partner in rhyme, everything. The guy definitely was the beginning of a new community here, the Wolf Pack. He brought Matt over here. Matt brought Will. Will has introduced me to so many great people. Will's my bro, my venture bro. Like, me and Will go on ventures like when we go out. So what would I be without these guys this year? Like, this whole year hanging out with them has been it's just been life changing. It's been life changing having them here in the studio. And damn, man, I look back, man, I can't get over all the people I've met, all the fat skinny people, all the tall short people, all the nobody people, all the somebody people. I never thought I would meet so many people. I love them all. I love everybody who walks through my door. And really, realistically, I'm financially stable enough where I can turn people down that I don't love. I don't want to work with people I don't love. That's where I'm at in life right now. That is where I'm at. If you're at Bravery, it's because I love you. And I don't want to work with people that I don't love. That's a fact. Love is the key word. But I think for this whole year, love is the key word for a fact. Without a mondo righteous doubt. You were at Bravery, it's because I love you if you ever walk through my door. For sure. The daily shout out. Listen, the daily shout out today goes out to the man whose shirt I'm wearing, Dancer Pro. Listen, Dancer Pro is the guy from Mordecai and Rigby regular show that they call when they're having a party because the party is lame. Dancer Pro is the life of every event or party I see him at, man. I absolutely can't get enough of this guy. He's the spirit and the heart of everything he's involved in. Absolutely love him. This is his Instagram here. He's a dancer. He got his merch. He does vending. He does it all, man. He says, I dance at shows and parks to brighten everyone's day and will always dance to destroy your sadness and mine for life. Dancing destroys sadness. Yo, listen, I don't know if I know a better. That's not even like a caption. That's a creed. That's a creed right there. That's a creed. And not the rock band. Check it out, man. I mean, the dude is fire. The dude is fire. Hawaiian Erics from forming at QXTs. And yeah, man. Let me see if I can jump ahead. It doesn't have a timeline, Jazz. All right, well. Either way, I'll let it play for a little bit. But yeah, man, Dancer Pro. I got this tee off of him. And yeah, man, I got a lot of love for the guy, man. He's definitely the life of every party he's at. Definitely the life of every event I see him at. That's for sure. Regardless of what's happening, the energy in the room, this man has great spirits. So I can't get enough. Shout out to Dancer Pro. Rocking the Dancer Pro tee right now. So got the exclusive merch. Who got this? Nobody got this. Only Marv got this. Listen. This is the exclusivity. But yeah, shout out to Dancer Pro. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you give him a like. Make sure you show him some love. Tell him the Marv in the morning sent you. Tell him the Marv in the morning sent you. So yeah, let's get into meat and potatoes, which is it's Ask Marv Anything, so I can speak about anything I like today. AMA Thursday. Um, I was just discussing how music energizes me, empowers me for sure. I'm a music addict, for sure. And I don't lean to any end of the spectrum when it comes to music. I'm like all over the place. Like if you were to draw a line of interest towards every musical act or performer that I'm into, um, like as if it was a conspiracy theory board, it would just be a giant circle. It would just be a humongous giant circle, almost with the vastness of space. Like, you know what I mean? Like that powerful. And yeah, man, I have musical interests all over the board, from hip hop probably being my first love. Growing up in Paterson, New Jersey, definitely a hip hop town. Then like in high school, getting into the I guess new metal. I don't know what you would call, like Linkin Park was like my first introduction to rock and roll. I don't know if they're like new metal or emo or right on the border of both. I feel like they might have been just on the border of both, and even like hip hop because they have a rapper in the group too. Linkin Park definitely helped me transition into other musical spaces, and I think they did that for a lot of people. They were like, the Hybrid Theory was a perfect name for their album because it's just a hybrid of musical genres, and from there, like getting into like things like System of the Down, getting into the rest of the new metal space. I remember my cousin had given me the System of the Down album, and it had like the Hollywood letters on it. I don't remember the name of the album. It might have just been called System of the Down, the album. But having that CD, that was one of my first albums. I had the Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, one of the first CD albums that I've ever paid for with my own money. I used my own money to buy that. I'm not too sure. I know I bought it at Best Buy. I might have borrowed money from my parents. I don't know, to get it. I don't know. But I used to go to sleep with the headphones on and just absorbing all that music, all the music. Stillmatic. Nas is Stillmatic. Stillmatic is the album that got me into Nas. Actually, Stillmatic, the first time I had heard it was at my cousin's house. My cousin's, I think his father, my cousin's father, my uncle, by marriage, I think he worked at a thrift store, and he used to come home with a whole bunch of jazz. Like, my cousins had so much gold in their home, that I was so envious. I spent almost all day, every day at my cousin's house. Shout out to Albert. Shout out to Roy. I spent more time at their house than my own house sometimes, because they just had a treasure trove. They had every video game console ever, up to that point. I still remember when his father came home with a Sega Saturn, and I never had seen one before. He had Virtual Fighter 2 on it. But when it came to like music, he had he bought, as far as Nas goes, he bought the Cuban Link, what is Queensbridge Finest. He bought the Queensbridge Finest CD home with him. And then he brought Stillmatic home with him one time, and then my cousins used to like jam out to it all the time. This is the boombox era. This is when you walk around. You don't put it on your shoulder. That's like the 80s thing, to put it on your shoulder. In the 90s, it was like you rest it. I wish I could demonstrate. On the 90s, you would rest your boombox like on your forearm, and rock it like that. So he would have the a recording of the CD, because they still had cassettes. Cassettes were a little bit they were phasing out a little bit, but people were still rocking and rolling with cassettes. As far as like when you walk around with a boombox, you had to have a cassette. Boomboxes didn't have like a CD player, and anyway, it'd be skipping the whole time if you did. But Stillmatic introduced me to Nas. Became like my favorite rapper. When I got my first job, I went and I automatically just wanted to look for more Nas music. I had worn out the Stillmatic CD to the ground. To the ground. I burned it on my PC. I burned it on my Xbox. Um, I mean, I ripped it on my PC. I ripped it on my Xbox, and I listened to that CD to the ground. By the end of it, I can't imagine how that CD was looking. I don't even know what happened to it at the end of it, but totally jammed out with it the whole time. Um, After Stillmatic, yeah, I looked for more Nas music. Like I was saying, we had a mixtape store in downtown Patterson. They had cassettes, they had CDs, they had everything. I walked in there and I was like, "Yo, can you give me a Nas CD to listen to?" I think I brought Godson first. Godson was the newest one. I got Godson first, right? Godson was great. Godson was awesome. It was kind of a part two to Stillmatic. Godson kind of still had the same production style as Stillmatic. It really was like a part two. Then I walked in there again like a week later. This is me at having a job at like 14. I was working at a video game store already. Um, Went back to the mixtape store, asked him for another Nas album, and he offered me Illmatic, and I looked at the back of it, and I see that it only has 10 songs on it. I'm like, nah, man, this only has like 10 songs. I'm not buying this. This is like, there's barely any music on it. How foolish of me. And I think I walked out of there with a whole different CD, and then went back a whole week later. I was getting weekly paychecks at that point. Walked back a whole week later and brought Illmatic, and it absolutely became my favorite, absolute favorite album of all time. Absolute favorite. It's probably tied up with a close second to David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Probably like they're like so close together, because I can listen to both of those like every day, every day I can listen to those two albums and not get bored of it. Just the feeling of listening to still Illmatic was crazy at like 14. Listening to something from probably 10 years earlier, like 94, I probably was listening to it in 2004. And it's crazy to think about, because it felt like such an old album at the time, but now I think about music from 10 years ago and it still sounds pretty new to me. Illmatic still had the it was a CD, but it still had the black sleeve. I don't know, is it a sleeve? The plastic part, when you flip the disc open, the background is all black. The booklet that it came with the track list and pictures, all black and white pictures in there of him in the projects and whatnot. All that stuff, mind blown. Listen to that, mind blown. Then, like I said, I got a little more into like rock and roll. I got a little more into different genres of music. I think I got into like classic rock in like senior year. I was hanging out with a kid named Tonto Schools. Tonto, shout out to you, man. I hope you watch this one day. Tonto's not his real name. That's the name that Mike gave him, because Mike just gives everybody nicknames. We all did. We never called anyone by their real name, ever. And hanging out with Mike, we'd always listen to like the oldies too. Mike would always have the oldies playing at his spot, and he was like, Mike was like 17 with his own apartment already and everything. So of course his house was the chill house where we'd go hang out, and always the oldies playing. So I got into like classic rock. I got into like Led Zeppelin, like heavy Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, The Who. I think I had an iPod Nano, which only had like 1 gigabyte, 1 or 2 gigs, I think 1 or 2 gigs on it. iPod Nano, and yeah, man, I totally filled it up with like classic rock songs. I had everything on there. I had the Rolling Stones, the Who, like I said, even like deep cuts, all that jazz. Yo, Commissioner Kelvin is in the building. Yo, Marv was good, homie. Just here riffing on the music I listened to growing up and the music that inspires me, bro. That's kind of what I'm ripping on right now, bro. It's Ask Marv Anything Thursday, so I'm just talking about anything, and I was like, nah, let me go down the rabbit hole with my music interests. So yeah, filled up my iPod with all classic rock and hip hop, 90s hip hop, Tribe Called Quest. I think I discovered Tribe Called Quest on at a friend's house. My friend had iTunes, and my friend was a music nerd. His name was we used to call him Norm. That was not his real name either. I think Mike gave him that name too. So we went to his house. He had iTunes. I was like, yo, let me put some of your iTunes music on my iPod. He like, I don't know if he picked out the songs or I picked them out, but I took a whole bunch of songs that he had on his computer and put on my iPod. And Tribe Called Quest, I went bonkers listening to that for the first time. Went bonkers listening to Tribe Called Quest. Uh, Mondo bonkers. Electric Relaxation. Lyrics to Go. Yo, Lyrics to Go. I think Lyrics to Go is my favorite Tribe song. Just the sample, the guitar riff in the beginning. Oh my god, that's, and then I know it's a sample of a woman. I don't know the name of the song, but and then the piano comes in. Ding 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 ding. Oh man, Lyrics to Go is crazy. Lyrics to Go is crazy, and just all of it, all of Tribe Called Quest. The first three albums, immaculate. Not a flaw on any of those three albums. You could kind of say that the first one, which is Travels, and oof, I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember the name of the first Tribe album, because the second one is the Low End Theory. The third one is Midnight Marauders. Man, I gotta look it up. But yeah, guy, Kelvin, tell me what music inspired you growing up, man. What music changed your life? Get into that. But Tribe Called Quest, definitely huge impact on me. Huge. I remember I used to walk to work. I used to walk from my house to the bus stop every day, headphones on, Tribe Called Quest playing, me walking through downtown Patterson, and just feeling the vibes of like the city, the urban environment with that playlist on. Forget about it, man. Forget about it. Life changing jazz right there. Oh man, I miss those days. I definitely miss those days. You know, at some point I got like the Beatles rock band. I had never really gotten into the Beatles that much, but the Beatles rock band got me into them. So I started listening to the whole catalog. You know, yeah, man. I want to hold your hand. Eleanor Rigby, things we said yesterday, or things we said today. 90s hip hop. But what particular artist, like hit home base for you, man? Tell me, Kamish. But yeah, man. Like trying to think where I was at again. But riding the bus, Tribe Called Quest, the Beatles. I still was into like classic rock heavy. I think that at some point I had to clear out my iPod. I had it full of music, full of music. But I had like grown like you get tired listening to the same songs every day. Even though I had like a million songs. I had a million songs. But at some point you need a palate cleanse. I just needed a palate cleanse. And I remember like in 2012, which is crazy to think about it. That's 10 years ago already. I just cleared out my entire iPod. I cleared it out. I was still walking around with an iPod. I don't. There might have been iPhones already, but I didn't have an iPhone. I didn't make enough money to get a smartphone or anything like that. Cleared out my whole iPod. I was at work, and my coworker Zan, shout out to Zandria. She, another music head. She was like, "Yo, you heard of this guy like Earl Sweatshirt? He's like, Rosenberg said he's the new Nas." I was like, "The new Nas?" I was like, "There is no new Nas." How, Sway? Nah, man. So being such a music fiend, I went home from work and I looked up his music. And I found him and like Tyler the Creator, the whole Odd Future thing. I turned it on. I remember exactly where and when I first listened to that. I turned it on, and almost immediately upon it starting, I just was like, no. I turned it right off. I was like, no. Yeah, Tribe Called Quest's first album is called Travels and Paths of Rhythm. Instinctive Travels and Paths of Rhythm. Yeah, man. Oof. Push it along. I left my wallet at El Segundo. Oh, man. Bonita Applebaum. I think Bonita Applebaum's on the first album. Correct me if I'm mistaken. I think Bonita Applebaum is on that too. Bonita Applebaum, you got put me on. Yo, listen. Poof. So much love for that music. But yeah, I listened to Tyler the Creator the first time, turned it right off. I was like, I'm not, no, no. But then I also was like on Dat Piff a lot. Dat Piff was like the place to get mixtapes back then online. The hip hop stores were disappearing. Music stores were disappearing in general because of digital music. So all the hip hop stores in downtown Patterson were gone. Boom, like in a blink of an eye. So like the only place to get mixtapes now is Dat Piff. There wasn't music on YouTube yet. There wasn't what is it, Spotify and all that stuff yet. You could do iTunes, but iTunes is not gonna have every song yet. They didn't have mixtapes up there. So if I wanted to listen to like Styles P, Ghost in the Machine, which is like my favorite mixtape all throughout high school, there was no other place to get it but Dat Piff. Dat Piff was the holy grail of like underground music. To answer your question, Rakim was the first artist that hit home for me. Rakim, yeah, man, the 18th letter. Rakim. What do I know about Rakim, man? I think Rakim was the progenitor of like 90s hip hop. He came at it more seriously, where like a lot of 80s rappers had a lot of comedy to their music. Rakim, Paid in Full, that album cover, wearing the Gucci. I think he was the first rapper to wear Gucci too, man. With the money flying and Rakim, definitely a legend. But yeah, I cleared out my iPod. I was only listening to like underground hip hop at like 22, 23. That's all I wanted to listen to. I had found MF Doom for the first time. Mind blowing listening to MF Doom for the first time at like 22, 23. Kendrick Lamar was still kind of underground. A$AP Rocky, Schoolboy Q, Joey Badass. That was like my whole iPod. I just had it full of underground hip hop. I had gotten rid of everything else because this was like a new art form for me. A lot of hipster rap, a lot of cloud rap. That's what was popular at the time. Kendrick Lamar's ADHD, that was constantly on my playlist. Yo, that's some throwbacks. Yes, Scarlett. I'm just going down the rabbit hole of music. My favorite MF Doom song, I want to say Gas Draws, but is it Gas Draws? Or is it, yeah, I think I'll go with Gas Draws. Or All Caps. All Caps might be my favorite. All Caps, man. When that comes on, I get hives when I hear that sound effect. I know he got all his samples from like old superhero cartoons. Yo, like how people turn up when they hear like Drake or something like that. When I hear that, I go crazy. I go nuts when I hear that, bro. That's party time. Yeah, it's definitely All Caps. Oh man, like flex bombs drop, bro. Flex drums bops. Oh man. I could go in on MF Doom. You do a whole episode on him. But yeah, man. Oh man, I don't even know if I can continue the episode. I'm in love with that. Yeah, man. What's your favorite MF Doom song, Calvin? But yo, underground hip hop. Poof. probably like my first creative journeys making videos. If you watch any of them, if you ever like, did a deep dive on like my original like videos when I first got started in videography, all of it was like underground hip hop songs on there. Bad Bad Not Good, which they were a jazz band. They covered like old school hip hop songs. My favorite of them songs are Hoe Cakes and Rap Snitches. Yes, Rap Snitches, telling all their business. It's in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, he's right here. Yo, yo, the comedy of MF Doom. It's done with he does it with such a straight face. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, he's right here. Even like Mos Def, that video of Mos Def rapping the lyrics to that. Oh man, that was everything. That was everything. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, he's right here. Yeah, man. Oh, brother, let me tell you guys something, man. I have a fixation, like love for like music, bro. But yeah, man, underground hip hop, I discovered it. Like I never listened to any underground artists growing up. It was like in my 20s where I like started to get into underground hip hop. And life changing. Underground rap back then, that hit for me was Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique was dope. I loved him. Well, no, let me take that back. I didn't love him. I listened to him a lot. That was more like Juan's thing. My buddy Juan Fusion. He really rocked with Immortal Technique a lot. I don't know if I've really even done a deep dive on Immortal Technique's catalog. I gotta like look into it. I haven't listened to Immortal Technique enough, to be honest with you. But I've heard great things. Listen to J. Cole. I like J. Cole. I used to like J. Cole back the first two albums. I think it was, Cold World and Born Sinner, I think, was the first two. I just feel like J. Cole kind of mellowed out on me a little bit just because, and Forest Hills I liked a lot. I think that was the last J. Cole I really gave a chance. But it kind of mellowed out on me because I noticed that his radio music, he makes a lot of radio music. And not that it's a bad thing. Get the bag. But J. Cole will be on the radio every day. And I just was like, I was starting to get like sick of it, just hearing it so much. So I kind of got a little tired of J. Cole just because he makes really good radio music. He makes really, really good radio music, and that's where the money's at. I don't blame him. He doesn't do it anymore. Now he's kind of like regressed a little bit, where he's making statements with his music again, which he always did make statements. He always did stand out, but I like J. Cole. I like early Cole, like I guess, which is like a hipster thing to say, right? Oh, I don't even like his first album. No, I like J. Cole. I like Kendrick. Listening to Kendrick for the first time was crazy. Section 80. Listening to I like Cole's early stuff. Friday Night Lights. I used to have the warm up, the mixtapes. Yeah, I had the mixtapes, the warm up, Friday Night Lights, the come up, where he was rapping on other like old classic beats and whatnot. I like the Black Hippie Crew. I liked when Kendrick and Absol, J Rock, Schoolboy Q were together. I like that. That's probably never gonna happen again. Doubt it. But yeah, man. I think also like growing up, like staying up late, watching TV late, and falling asleep with the TV on. I got like a magnetically pulled towards like oldies. So listen, I have like a fascination with like Elton John, the Billy Joel, Hall and Oates, Genesis, Phil Collins, all those 80s cheesy Pat Benatar tracks. Also from like playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City, also like gave me the expanded my palette for music too. Video games definitely expanded my palette for music as well. The second rapper that hit home for me was DMX. DMX, the first bootleg I ever brought, and it kind of sucks because I'm over here buying bootlegs. He doesn't make money off of that, right? The first bootleg I ever brought was And Then There Was X. And got Party Up on there. You got What These Want From Somebody Let Me Know. Yeah, DMX, larger than life. I think if he's a comic book character come to life, he's so large, so much larger than life, and he's unapologetically himself. Yeah, he's himself, man. Without remorse. Let's just say that. Without remorse. Yeah, DMX was awesome. DMX was awesome. I remember listening to like Marvin Gaye. That's why I really like that you have the name Trouble Man on Twitch. That Trouble Man song. The flow he has on that track is immaculate. Marvin Gaye went in on that. And that's like a song for a movie. That's like, it has like a James Bond kind of like feel to it. I know it's a blaxploitation song, which blaxploitation music. Oh boy, the first DMX album I bought was Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. The album cover when he's just there with all the blood on him, that was like, oh man, I don't know. I think that album was in my house. Maybe my sisters have it. I have two older sisters. I think they had it, and it was in my house, but I never played it because I was just always weirded out by the blood all over him and him just standing there religiously. Yo, we got Brian Green in the house. Brian Green's getting married soon, bro. Yo, shout out to you doing your thing, man. Taking a big step in life. But yeah, man, Brian, tell me about your favorite songs, favorite albums, favorite artists. We're going down the rabbit hole of music today. Blood of My Blood, Flesh of My Flesh. I like It's Cold and Hell Is Hot more. I think Don't Be Greedy. Whew, Don't Be Greedy. Yeah, man. That's like my favorite DMX song. Just the instrumental. Like it slows down and then it speeds up. Oh, Castlevania music. That's what that was. That Don't Be Greedy is Castlevania music, like for sure. But yeah, man. Music definitely powers me. Even like recently, like last weekend, I watched the Elvis movie. I was watching the Elvis movie, and listen, I had never ever listened to Elvis before, and I think that movie was pretty mediocre. It didn't do anything special. Like movies about musicians always follow the same like trajectory, like the humble beginnings, the stardom, drug use, the life falls apart. Always the same song. But listen, hearing the songs though, I was like, and hearing how hype people were for like Elvis and seeing what his thing was. Music is everything. We got Jake Adolski in the house, my brother. I gave you a nice shout out earlier, brother. Go back and watch the beginning of the episode when you get the chance, man. Shout out to my bro Steve, the gamer with attitude. Make sure you sub to his channel. Yeah, Elvis. I was listening to Elvis like right before today's show. I was listening to Jimi Hendrix and then Elvis, but If I Can Dream, I don't know if I can even play it without getting like banned off YouTube. Well, no, let's not do it. But listen, man, Elvis, don't sleep on it. I think he's got some bangers. He's got some bangers for sure. Elvis has some bangers, and I didn't know until I watched that movie, cause when you watch a movie about somebody, about an artist, it's not real. It's not, don't ever take a movie that says based off a true story as a true story. It's definitely not. But Elvis got some bangers, bro. Classic. One of my favorites was 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. Get Rich or Die Trying, I was in 7th grade, and that album shut down the world. The world, bro. That album shut down the entirety of the world. Because it was just, 50 Cent was just so on fire. That was the LimeWire Casa days. 50 Cent had dropped Wangster, and we went to LimeWire Casa to look up more 50 Cent songs. I couldn't find any 50 Cent songs. I couldn't find anything. And then I realized the way he spells his name is 50 Cent. I was typing in 50 Cent like the letters FIFTY. I was like, why can't I find any of his music? 50 Cent, The Number. And then I found like How to Rob, a Problem Child. Yo, the mixtape 50 before Get Rich or Die Trying. Mixtape 50 was on fire even still, bro. Mixtape 50 was crazy. Listen to Little Richard. I gotta get into Little Richard. You see, the thing is with like the Little Richards, the Elvises, the BB Kings, that's like 1950s music. And I feel like I have listened to music from like 1960 onward. I've never gone back to like the 50s. So the 50s was great for music. The birth of rock and roll and all that jazz, right? But my music, the farthest back I go with music is like the 60s with like the Beatles, the Animals, the Zombies, Rolling Stones. But there's a whole decade before that of great music that inspired the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Zombies, the Animals, Marvin Gaye, a whole section of music from the 50s that was big. Little Richard, BB King, Elvis, a couple other great artists that were rocking and rolling back then. Elvis, of course, he what is the word for it? He did a little cultural appropriation with his rock and roll. So there's some controversy there. I don't know about the controversy. I don't know if I have an opinion on. I kind of avoid those topics, but I will say there's some gems in there. If you go back and you listen to like some Elvis, I gotta get into like the 50s era music for sure. Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye is my favorite song. That's why my screen name on Twitch. Trouble Man, Inner City Blues, What's Going On. Marvin Gaye was a beast, bro. Was a beast. And then his tragic story of his pops, killing him, and like, oof. Tough stuff, man. Tough stuff. But yeah, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Hill, Ain't No Mount. Oh, man. That's my karaoke go-to when I have a duet. That's my karaoke go-to. For any duet. Yo, I'm gonna let in on a secret. Little Richard is your cousin? Little Richard is your cousin? We gotta talk. Hats off to you, bro. Hats off to you. Little Richard is your cousin? He must be like a much older cousin, bro. How old are you? Man's been rocking and rolling since forever. Holy crap. Little Richard. I gotta go back and listen to Little Richard, man. But that's crazy. Yeah, Little Richard is my cousin. Wow. I gotta start hanging out with you. I'm going down to North Carolina. Yo, shout out to Little Richard, man. I'm gonna play some Little Richard after this show. I'm gonna listen to that as I set up my next podcast that's coming in at 11. Cause I wanna really get into like 50s music. I wanna go back to that decade. I'm gonna do a 50s playlist on Spotify. I have to do a 50s. I do listen to like Sinatra. Definitely Sinatra's dope, but the rock and roll space of the 50s, I never really haven't ventured that far back yet. But that's crazy. I wish I had a famous cousin, man. Yeah, he's my much older cousin. The commissioner is in his 30s. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Little Richard's a legend. I remember he used to make so many TV show appearances in the 90s. That's where I discovered Little Richard, from all his TV. He used to guest star on so many shows, and he looked great in the 90s. And to know that he was around rocking and rolling in the 50s is crazy. James Brown, This Is a Man's World. Yo, that song, boof. This is a man's world. The octaves on that one. This is a man's. Oh, man. Can't get enough of that, man. Can't get enough of that. Even like Caribbean music, I get inspired by. Like I Wayne, she needs more wood for the fire. No man can satisfy her. I might have said it backwards, but banger, banger. Yeah, man. Music definitely powers me up. I don't know how far back I would have gotten to this point without music. Cause like I said, Tribe Called Quest blasting in my headphones as I'm walking through Patterson on my way to work is what inspired me to like start doing videos. I even did a couple music videos, not many. Music videos are a lot of work, a lot of work, and not as much pay. And the ones I did, yeah, but yeah, man, I don't know how far I would be, how I don't know how life would have been without music, because it's definitely my energizer. Definitely my energy. Yeah, forget the bunny. Throw on some great tunes. Like I said, Ziggy Stardust. If you guys have never listened to David Bowie's album, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, go do that right now. You can leave this video. This video is not gonna be remembered like David Bowie is. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, banger, banger. From the way it opens, it's like a movie. That album, it's like a movie. Like the world's about to end. He's a alien that comes to Earth, falls in love with a woman on Earth. Actually, I can't even say a woman. He was David Bowie was David Bowie. He was whatever he wanted to be. I'm like Radio Shack. If you have a question about Little Richard, I got answers. We're gonna chop it up then. I gotta go down the rabbit hole with I see Tutti Frutti here on the list. Good golly, Miss Molly. But yeah, man, give David Bowie a listening when you get the chance. Life on Mars, the lyrics of that song, or even Space Odyssey. Ah man, Space Odyssey. I feel so melancholic listening to that, and I'm picturing being alone in like space, like you're on a mission from Earth to Mars, and you don't know what none of the technology does, but you know it's doing what it needs to do. David Bowie's Let's Dance. Let's Dance is a classic. But that's the thing about David Bowie. David Bowie recreated himself with every album. So David Bowie got into like the R&B scene with Let's Dance. A couple other tracks he got that's really popular. Dun, 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 let's dance. He was on Soul Train. They put David Bowie on Soul Train, bro. I don't know if he's the only white guy to have ever gone on that show. I would have to research it, but it was wild seeing David Bowie on Soul Train. Look up that clip if you guys ever want to see it. Look it up. David Bowie was on Soul Train. Craziness. I kind of want to see it now, just without audio. David Bowie, Soul Train. Yeah. Look at him talking to man. What was this guy's name with the baritone voice that used to host the show? David Bowie on Soul Train, crazy. Cornelius, right? Cornelius something. That's David Bowie on Soul Train right there. That's doing Just Dance. I believe he's doing Just Dance. I don't have the audio, but yeah. Crazy. Yo, there's actually been a couple white people to perform on Soul Train besides David Bowie. Oh, okay. I thought he might have been like the only one because I've never seen another white guy on that show. But yeah, David Bowie, legend. But if we're gonna talk about like rock and roll, like my favorite performers, yo, Freddie Mercury. The man was an idol. He could rock a whole stadium with like waves. He was larger than life, man. Yo, that ayo. I got like 3 friends that whenever we're in a car together, we have to put on Don Cornelius hosted Soul Train. Yeah, Don Cornelius's voice, man. It's like he had like a freaking boulder like right there, like legend. Don Cornelius. I could listen to Don Cornelius talk about anything. I could listen to Don Cornelius read like Twilight, and I hate that book, but I could if he's reading it, I'll listen. If he's reading it, I'll listen, man. But yeah, man. Freddie Mercury, forget about it. Whenever I have like a group of friends together, we have to do a quartet of a Bohemian Rhapsody. Have to. But not even just Bohemian Rhapsody, because everyone knows Bohemian Rhapsody. You gotta go to Radio Gaga. All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Goo Goo. Oh man, forget about it. Love Freddie Mercury. Love it. Even like the stage presence, like the artists, the artistry of Queen, of Freddie Mercury. That another one by says dum 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 dum. Man, I should be doing a music podcast, honestly. But yeah, man. David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, forget about it. Freddie Mercury. What a man, bro. What a artiste, man. What a performer. I put Freddie Mercury on the same stage as like DMX, as far as like doing a show. I actually got to see DMX live in 2012 for the only concert I've ever been to. I've barely been to any concerts, live shows or whatever. For like famous people, I go to like local shows or whatnot. But dude, DMX got on. It was Rock the Bells like 2012. Rock the Bells, right? DMX was headlining the first day. He was the last act of the first day. Nas was the last act of the second day. It was two-day festival concert. This is around 2012 was around the time when DMX was like go doing bad. He was going through some rough patches in life. But brother, if he didn't get on that stage and kill it, oh my God. DMX got on the stage and was like, I love performing. I love doing this. I love being here. Doing this for me is better than sex. And he didn't say sex. He said another word that I can't say. He said, being here is better than sex. And everybody in the crowd was like, no. And then you think about it. Yeah, how many times are you going to you get the chance to get up there and perform for thousands of people? How often do you get that opportunity? Yeah. DMX was a performer, bro. Artiste. Performer. But yeah, man. Music is a beautiful thing. Whoever invented music and sounds in pattern and rhythmic patterns, my hat would go off to you if I didn't throw it off my head already. Shout out to music. Music is a beautiful thing, for sure. Just don't play it on your podcast. But yeah, guys, today's been awesome. I love just riffing on everything, on music, on everything, bro. I just love it. Totally love it. And I gotta learn how to play the guitar one of these days. Yeah, I gotta learn. I definitely have to learn. But this is Marv in the Morning. I think it's time for so long. But thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that notification bell. And if you're in the comments in the chat, just say something to me. Just like, hey Marv, I like what you're doing, or I hate what you're doing. Tell me you hate what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Do it. I didn't even get to go talk about Jimi Hendrix. Oh man. The thing is, an hour isn't enough for me to riff on all the music I like. I can't. Yeah, well, part 2 next week on Thursday. Definitely have to have a part 2. But it's been real Bravehearts. Thank you for kicking it with me today. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Shout out to Jay-Z. In the words of the famous Jay-Z, I'm almost out of energy with how much I riffed on music today. Right now, I'm almost out of energy. But I'll tell you what, Bravehearts, keep dreaming, dream forever. Keep on keeping on.